Just something to say quickly before I start up the video. I know I said that I wouldn't be doing another video game countdown until the end of this year, but I got a good new idea, so I wanted to make it. It's that simple, really. The title of this video may seem a bit out there, so I figured this requires a bit more explanation than usual. You ever have a game where you see tons of people praise it, and when you actually play it, you can easily see why people like it, but at the same time, you just can't bring yourself to enjoy it? That's what I'm here to talk about today. These are games that tons of people like, and I can easily see why they like them, but I just don't enjoy them myself. Now, since these are games that a lot of people liked, but I don't, you may think that this is an overrated games list, but it's not, because I'm flat out acknowledging that all of these are good games. I just didn't happen to get as much out of them as many others did. So obviously, if you see a game you really like on this list, don't get mad. I'm specifically saying that it's good. In case you're wondering how these are going to be ranked, the farther apart how much I like them and how much I respect them are, the higher up they're going to be on the list. So with all that said, let's begin. If you were to ask me what my favorite game that came out so far this year was, I would have to say Kindergarten. Now, before you say I spoiled my list of my favorite games that I played this year, keep in mind, it's the games I played this year, not the ones that came out this year. Plus, there's still a couple heavy hitters coming out later this year that I have yet to play. What was the point of that random tangent? Well, to segue into the game that you probably thought I was going to say, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, you might say that this is cheating because I actually do like this game, but here's the thing. I don't like it nearly as much as most of the people who've played it do. Let's start with the good things. First off, the world. It's gigantic. I was blown away by how big they made this world. And they made it look really good too. The visuals in this game are stunning. Not to mention the unique system of having your weapons break, as well as just how open-ended the game is. Once you make it off the Great Plateau, you're allowed to tackle the main quest in just about any order you want. You can go straight for Ganon if you really feel like it, but there's also tons of things to do on the side. You can raise your own horse, tons of side quests, and a bunch of other things. And here's kind of the problem for me. When it comes to games, I tend to be a fairly goal-oriented person. I tend to really focus on advancing the main story. If a side quest looks interesting enough, I'll do it, but for the most part, I kind of just ignore them. And that's the thing, the game gave me so many things I could do, but most of them I didn't feel like doing at all. Going back to the horses for an example, I thought it was really cool how you could raise your own horse and register them at a stable, but I didn't do that. I rode a horse once in the game. All the rest of the time I basically just used my hang glider and my warp capabilities for everything. But what about things like, say, the bosses littering the whole world? I kinda just ignored them. Even when I had good gear, I was never really that confident in my ability to fight them. Side quests? Unless they were really convenient for me to complete, I kinda just avoided them. What about all the secrets, though? I never really went looking for them. I mean, if I saw a rock, I would pick it up in case there was a Korok there, but even then, I never even bothered to figure out how to redeem the Korok seeds. Sure, I went out and did just about every shrine I could find, but that was more because A, I wanted a convenient place to warp to, and B, I wanted higher stats, rather than, oh boy, I can't wait to do another puzzle. What about actually advancing the story though, you know, through the Divine Beast quests? Well, here's how basically all of them work. You show up to a town, you get someone to help you, you get some information about the story, like what happened 100 years ago, and I like that part, but then you go inside the Divine Beast, and each one really feels the same. The design of it looks really bland on the inside, and it is basically the same for each one, and then you fight just another form of Ganon that's all purpley goop. And even then, it's not like the dungeons last all that long. But then there's also recovering Link's lost memories, which I wasn't a fan of either. I liked all the story scenes that we got from it, but I didn't like having to go around scouting for remote locations across the world just to get more of a story in a game that doesn't really show you much to begin with. Not to mention, I found it annoying not having enough of something and having to go on a wild goose chase searching for it. There were tons of times in the games where I ran out of arrows and needed to find more, and I pretty much stopped playing when I had freed all the Divine Beasts and was ready to go into Hyrule Castle, but I didn't have any shields. Again, I can easily see people sinking their teeth into the optional content in this game and appreciating the non-linear way it presents itself in, but it's just not really my style. I enjoyed this game for the huge world and how beautiful everything looked, but sadly that's about it. One indie game that made the rounds a lot earlier this year was Night in the Woods. It's kind of less of a game and more of an interactive storytelling experience. There's really no challenge whatsoever in moving forward, and the few times where it does become a game, it's not required to progress. And it's gotten a really positive reception. Even Feminist Frequency praised it. I didn't think it was possible for Anita to praise anything. And I played the game, and I thought it was good. I liked the story, the characters were likable, but I didn't find it amazing like a lot of people are. And I think I might know why that is. A lot of the game's experience is kind of designed for people who just came home from college and are really seeing how their hometowns changed. Me, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm just about to go off to college. Plus, I also went into the game expecting a kind of emotional experience. I honestly think that if I played it earlier on without these expectations, the game probably would have had more of an impact on me. Honestly, I think I got more out of some of the fan works, like Loxton's theory on how the game relates to real-world politics, or Mando Pony's song Ghosts. Also, in the segments where it does become more of a game, particularly during the band practices, I suck at it. I am freaking terrible. But that's about it. Nothing more to say, really. Here's a question I've asked myself. Are there any games or game series that I've just flat out outgrown? For a while, I didn't think this could be the case. I mean, I play a lot of Nintendo, and their thing is kind of making their games family friendly. But then I remembered, Kirby. Now for a while, I could think this might just be because the series itself is decreasing in quality. I mean, Nintendo's been pumping out games non-stop, and the 3DS games both shared the same engine, and stole a ton from Return to Dreamland. But then, I saw the trailer for the new Kirby game, I wasn't really excited, even though I probably should have been, and that's when I realized, yeah, it is me. I just don't like the Kirby games anymore. Now, this one's lower on the list because while I don't like it, I don't really respect it that much either. I get what the purpose of Kirby is. Sometimes you just need an easy game to wind down with. Plus, there's a ton of experimentation you can do with all the different copy abilities. I guess after a while, I just got really bored of that. It also doesn't help that whenever Nintendo has any random idea and they don't want to create a new IP for it, they just slap it onto Kirby. And that's why I don't respect the series as much as the other entries on this list, because Nintendo's just pumping them out constantly. I still do respect the games. I had a lot of fun with them back when I still enjoyed them. And as such, I can easily see why so many other people like them. I just lost interest. So a lot of people have been asking me what I thought of Yooka-Laylee. Did I love it? Did I hate it? Well, I thought it was kinda meh. I didn't think it was amazing, but I didn't think it was terrible either. And honestly, I really shouldn't be surprised by this, because I played Banjo-Kazooie a couple years ago, and I kind of felt the same way about that. So why is it that I didn't love this game that, for many people, is a childhood favorite of theirs? Well, I think that's the first reason. I wasn't young when I played the game. Like I said, it was only a couple years ago. Now, for those of you who've seen Josh Scorcher's video on nostalgia communities, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, let me briefly sum it up. Basically, the principle of nostalgia communities states that when you're younger, you're willing to put up with more stuff in video games than you would when you're an adult. Putting up with these less than stellar game mechanics, but it being in your childhood creates a nostalgia community, and you can still play the game when you're older and still enjoy it. Or heck, even play similar games that you never played before, but they still have the same problems, so you've learned to put up with them. I never really played anything like Banjo when I was young. So thanks to that, I've never really been in the proper mindset to play this game. I mean, I played the first world, I found a decent number of jiggies, then in the second world I barely found any, and it only got worse from there. I'm not saying that you have to be a little kid or have grown up with Banjo-Kazooie to enjoy it, but I have a feeling it really helps.
There were some collectibles in Banjo-Kazooie that I found purely by knowing this was a game made by Rare, and during the time of the 90s, so they would likely hide things in puzzles characteristic of games at that time, like shooting a piece of the wall with an egg that moves it. It doesn't make any logical sense to a gamer nowadays. But from a person who's very familiar with 3D platformers of that era, figuring these puzzles out is easy. I was able to figure them out because I slaved away at these games when I was younger trying to figure them out under my higher tolerance level.
I mean, in terms of 3D platformers I grew up with, it was Super Mario Galaxy, Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island, and Epic Mickey. So games that aren't really like Banjo-Kazooie at all. They're a lot more linear as opposed to just a world and you have to find all the items in it. At the same time though, I don't think it's hard to see why so many people love this game. If you can get in the right mindset to find all the jiggies, then I'm sure you'd have a blast, and even then, there are aspects that I personally enjoyed, like the characters and the soundtrack. The World Ends With You is a great JRPG with a moving story and gameplay that makes clever use of the DS's two screens gimmick, is what someone who likes this game would say, but I don't. For some reason, I really don't like talking about this game, and I can't place my finger on why. So I might as well make this one quick. First off, I wasn't a big fan of the story. Now, it's easy to see why other people like the story of this game, but I personally didn't. Why? Well, it hit a bit too close to home. I like the different plot twists about the game and stuff, but with Neku, it was kinda hard for me. You see, for those who haven't played the game, his whole thing is he's a selfish jerk who doesn't want anything to do with anyone and is very asocial. I had trouble interacting with people a lot myself growing up, and I had finally gotten over it not too long before I played this game, so as you would imagine, not the most pleasant of experiences. I'm not the biggest fan of the battle system either, for two reasons. One, there is so much stuff to remember with it that there's a boatload of tutorials at the beginning of the game, and I forgot a lot of it because it's such information overload, which left me pretty underleveled by the end of the game. And second, well, look at this. I'd imagine fans of this game have much better hand-eye coordination than I do, because to me this is a lot like that minigame from Game & Wario entitled Gamer, where you have to play games on the gamepad while trying to avoid your mom on the TV. Only instead of just a simple minigame, it's the entire battle system of the game. Also, some people said they loved the soundtrack in this game. I have very different tastes in music from those people. Now, admittedly, the instrumentals were fine, but whenever it had lyrics, it just sounded like the most generic and annoying pop and rap songs I could think of. On the plus side though, I did like some of the characters, and I like the overall visual style. And you know, for someone who had different personal experiences, as well as being able to pick up on the battle mechanics and actually liking the music, I think they could get a lot out of this game. If there's one series that people have asked me if I play over the years, it's Pokemon, and whenever they ask that, I just answer, no, sorry, I don't play Pokemon, I'm just not into it. So yeah, for a while, I haven't liked Pokemon. However, it's just recently that I've finally been able to put a finger on why I don't like Pokemon. There's two big reasons behind this. The first off being just how many options there are. I mean, I have to worry about, oh, which Pokemon should I get? And what moves should I have on them, and which abilities are better, and all the friggin' stats that go into a battle, which is what so many people love about the series, but for me, it's just too complicated for my taste. The other reason, though, extends not just to Pokemon, but to many RPGs in general. When it comes to the battle system, I need it to be a bit more engaging. By that, I mean gameplay-wise, I want something better than simply selecting options on a menu. It doesn't have to be a full-blown action RPG or anything, but simply having action commands for your attacks and to avoid enemy attacks can go a long way. That's the way some of my favorite RPGs of all time are. I'm sorry, but if I don't have any other input in the battle other than what attacks or items I'm using, that typically just leads to me mashing buttons whenever I'm at an easy battle, and just not wanting to battle at all. People told me to play Pokemon Moon. They said, oh, it's different from the rest of the series. It has a really good story. It's better than the rest of the games. And, well, I kinda got bored after the first island because it still had the same things in it that I didn't like about the previous games, which is kind of what woke me up as to why I disliked the series in the first place. The funny part is, I'm perfectly fine with watching videos about Pokemon on YouTube. It's just when it comes to actually playing it, yeah, not for me. Behold the marvel that is Super Mario Maker! It delivers what fans have been dreaming of for years, being able to create their own Super Mario levels. And for those of you who are uncreative and suck at level creation, no need to worry. You can go online and play levels by other Super Mario Maker creators. Yes, sir, this is truly a marvel of modern game design to be loved by all. That is, unless, of course, you suck at level design and hate 2D Mario, but I doubt such a person could exist. And if they did, they'd probably be some nobody on YouTube with a stupid name like Defoffalizer. But even then, they would have to see the beauty in all of this and maybe put the game on a list of, like, the games that they respect but don't like, or something along those lines. When I ask you to think of a game that's really difficult, there's a lot of different games that people think of. However, when you ask them to think of a game that's really difficult, but also respects your abilities and is really enjoyable, people tend to lean towards Super Meat Boy. But I think you figured out the caveat by now. I'm not one of those people. Now, before you all say I'm terrible at this game, I think I should point out that I made it to World 5, so I'm not completely terrible at this game. But yeah, I am pretty bad at this game. Now, why is that? Well, I think it's because the game has a lot of elements to it that I am just terrible with. For starters, precision platforming. I'm friggin' terrible at it. Even in games I like, I am very bad when it comes to precision platforming. Not to mention, I like to take my time to calculate a jump I'm going to need to make or get the timing of something down, but a lot of levels in Super Meat Boy don't allow for that, and you just have to go as fast as you can. And the controls that seem perfect for just about everyone else, I just can't seem to get a grip on. I constantly find myself overshooting or undershooting my jumps. And I think that's really the thing. I don't feel in control when I'm playing this game like everyone else does. So that feeling that everyone who plays this game talks about of, oh, I failed, but it's completely my fault, and I can work to get better and eventually succeed, is not a feeling that I get with this game. However, I do know what it's like. I get it with a lot of other games like Guacamelee, Not a Hero, and Punch-Out! Okay, here we are at the big one. The one that I'm sure a lot of you saw coming. It's a game I've ranted about in the past, and honestly, I think I was way too harsh. Say it with me now. Minecraft. I really respect Minecraft because it did something that no other game did. It gave you an infinite world and let you build it however you wanted. Sure, other games have had customizable aspects in the past, but none have given as much freedom to the player as Minecraft has, at least none that I know of. And even beyond just building things, they give you enemies to fight, things to mine, plenty of stuff to do. And as you would imagine by its placement on the list, I got bored pretty quickly. So what don't I like about the game? Well, first off, the visuals. Now, I don't hate retro-style graphics in general. There are plenty of games that have done pixel art that I personally think look really good. However, with Minecraft specifically, it looks really ugly to me. Maybe it's that they're putting it in 3D, or maybe it's something else, I don't really know. But the big thing here is the gameplay. Like I said before, I'm a pretty goal-oriented person, and the only thing that Minecraft really offers in that respect is survival mode. And even then, there's plenty of other games that do that sort of thing better that I could play. As for creative mode, I don't really like building anything without a particular vision in mind, so I got bored of it pretty quickly. Sure, I hear that the multiplayer in Minecraft's fun, but if you're sitting in a room playing with your friends, just about any game can be made fun. If you're wondering why I was so harsh towards Minecraft on my overrated games list, it's because of the fact that it's one of the biggest games out there. Tons of people heap lavish praise on a game that I just couldn't really get into. Oh, Minecraft is such an amazing game. It opens up your imagination and offers limitless possibilities. Dude, it's a game where you play with ugly pixelated blocks. Get over it. That's how I saw things back then, and to an extent still do see them. However, after that video, I really started to see that Minecraft's main demographic is kids and YouTubers trying to capitalize off of those kids, which explains why a lot of Minecraft stuff tends to be pretty cringy. But even if you're an adult who likes the game, go ahead, enjoy it, there's plenty to like. Just don't expect to see me playing it anytime soon. So for a while, a lot of people have been asking me to play a game called Lisa the Painful. and I played it. And I honestly have to say, it is the darkest game I have ever played. For those wondering how seriously you should take that statement, I don't go out of my way to play a ton of really dark games, but at the same time, I have played The Binding of Isaac, BioShock, and Franbo, so I think you can take my statement at least a little bit seriously. Sure, the story's screwed up beyond belief, but what I think really makes this game dark is just how all the messed up stuff seeps its way into the gameplay. There are plenty of party members you can get to join you throughout the game, which is good because they die pretty easily. There are bosses with plenty of attacks that will permanently kill off your party members. There are moments with Buzzo where he'll give you the choice to either permanently kill off one of your party members or cutting one of Brad's arms off, making him permanently weaker. Oh, and would you believe me that healing's not safe either? Because it's not. You can sit down to heal at a campfire whenever you want. However, whenever you do, there's a chance that one of your party members will be kidnapped, and you have to either pay a ransom to get him back or fight the kidnappers, which will end with your party member getting killed in the process. Also, in pain mode, you want to think really long and hard about whether or not to reset if things don't go your way. Because in pain mode, the save points are single use. Items are scarce too. Sure, you can buy the basics at shops. However, if you want the really good stuff like fire bombs and joy, there's a limited number of those. But don't hold on to your items too much, because there's plenty of times where you can get robbed as well. All of these are choices I respect, because they convey the brutality of the world this game takes place in the clearest possible terms, by messing with the gameplay. However, these choices don't make for a really enjoyable experience, at least not for me. I don't like constantly worrying about losing party members or items. You want to know when I stopped playing? It wasn't when I got to the end of the game. It's when I got to the Russian roulette segment. At that point, I'm like, okay, I am about to lose all of my party members. You know, maybe I don't want to play this game. I think I'll move on to something else. The reason this game is number one, above even Minecraft, is that the things that make me respect this game so much are the exact same things that make me hate playing it. I'm Defoffalizer, and I'll see you in the next video.